Hello everyone, today I'm going to be discussing what a leveraged buyout is, or an LBO. So a leveraged buyout occurs when a company acquires another company with the purchase being funded primarily by debt. So the acquirer, or the company looking to purchase another company, uses around 90% debt, 10% equity. And that 10% equity being stockholders' equity, so what they own, so usually capital or cash. So that 10% would be the cash that they're paying for it. So the acquirer would accumulate debt by issuing bonds that are backed by both the acquirer and the target company's assets as collateral. So instead of just the assets of that company being the collateral for issuing those bonds, there would be an addition of the target company's assets as well. So you would add both the target company's assets and the acquirer company's assets to basically build off the collateral from that. So they'd be able to issue more bonds than otherwise they could if it was only their company. But since you are adding the target company's assets, you'd basically be able to issue more bonds, which would issue more debt, which would be able to increase the likelihood of buying a more expensive company for that acquisition. And then finally, just going over a few pros and cons of leverage buyouts. So a few pros would be there's little capital required up front. So because it's only 10% equity and the rest is going to be debt, these companies don't need to put up too much cash to acquire a company. And that would be a good thing, especially if they don't have too much capital on hand. And this would allow for a smaller company to purchase a larger company. So if a smaller company normally wouldn't be able to afford a very large company, when they only put down 10% of the purchase as cash, they would be much more likely to acquire a larger company. So this could help if a small company was looking to acquire a large company. And then going over a few cons. So because of this high debt ratio of 90% debt, there would be high interest payments on all that debt. So a company would need to have good cash flow from operations to be able to continue making interest payments. And because of this large debt amount, these companies are a lot more likely to go bankrupt, who are looking to do leveraged buyouts because they take on so much debt. And if they don't meet the requirements to pay these debt interest payments, they would suffer from a high risk of bankruptcy at the end of it. So there are some good pros and some bad cons to leverage buyouts, but each company would need to analyze their situation before making that determination if they would want to acquire a company using a leveraged buyout. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed.